Welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host, Ali Gohar. On the first half of the show, we're going to talk about cricket, and we're specifically going to focus on the first day-night test match between Pakistan and the West Indies in Dubai. Pakistan managed to win that one by 56 runs on the final day, and it wasn't that easy, let me tell you. On the first few days, when Pakistan almost scored 600 in the first innings, they scored 579 to be exact. Nobody expected the West Indians to come back as strongly as they did, but you have to give credit to their very talented leg spinner, Devinder Bishu, who took 8 for 49, and Pakistan were bowled out in their second innings for 123, and that gave the West Indians a sniff. And once more, Darren Bravo, clearly the West Indians, their most technically correct player, came to the fore. He batted with a great deal of concentration and showed the world just how good he is in pressure situations. But unfortunately for the West Indies, he got out at the wrong time. Yasir Shah got him out, and once he was dismissed, the Pakistanis ran through the West Indies. So you have to give the West Indians credit for coming back the way they did, which means they'll be confident going into the second test match, which starts on Friday, and then hopefully they'll be able to give Pakistan a little bit of a challenge in the third as well. So there's a lot to talk about over here, and we also have to talk about the pink ball, how the pink ball held up, and whether day-night test cricket is here to stay. That's very important to discuss. And after that, we're going to talk about football. We're going to focus on the English Premier League. We're going to talk about Liverpool's draw against Manchester United. And then we're briefly going to talk about the Champions League, Man City's big game against Barcelona. And to talk about cricket in further detail, I've been joined by two guests in the studio. I have with me Mr. A.R. Zaidi. A.R. Zaidi, sahab, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Great to have you back.
Thank you very much.
And we also have Faizan Riaz. Faizan, always a pleasure to see you.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
Zaidi sahab, I'm glad the West Indians came back the way they did. They needed this. They were battered in the T20 series. They were humiliated in the one-day series. And we didn't expect them to challenge Pakistan the way they did, especially after the first 3 days. So full credit to them.
That's right. In fact, first Bishu's bowling and then, of course, Bravo's batting. These were the two main features of West Indian performances. First of all, I want to inform my viewers that I was at a place where there was no cricket beamed in. So it was difficult for me, except to follow it on a social media site. I was just getting the scores. On my return back to Pakistan, I in fact followed it on PTV and other sports channels. It was such a pleasing news to see that Pakistan was in fact winning. But on the last day, it was anyone's game. West Indies could even win because of Bravo's heroics, and with him, other West Indian batsmen.
Faizan, Bravo said, I just wanted to bat out the day. I don't think so. I think he was looking for a win. There were about, I think, 27 overs remaining or something like that before he got out. They could have done it. I really believe that they could have, and I think Bravo believed it as well.
Yes, you're absolutely right. See, this is the beauty of a test cricket, that you can win the game for your country in a couple of sessions, and Bravo was doing exactly the right thing. And if he could able to play a whole day, that easily he will able to win the test match for his country. And the way he was playing at one stage, I was believing that now this match is going to slip from our hand. But thanks to Yasir Shah, the way he caught him bowled and the way he put energy in that second inning was marvelous.
Zaidi Sahab, this is why Test cricket is just absolutely stunning. And I'll be honest with you, the first few days, I was bored because the pitch was dead, nothing was happening. We thought Pakistan were going to storm to victory in 4 days. Maybe I'm just getting used to too much T20 cricket. But then the fourth day and the fifth day, it became so interesting. It was like a chess match, and that's what Test cricket is all about. That's why it's such a beautiful game.
You're talking about yourself and about myself, who had got a jet lag after a flight of around 10-15 hours. Well, I was in the bed when I saw Yasir Shah taking that splendid catch. My word, I just jumped out of the bed, and I then felt that Pakistan had made it.
I tell you what, Misbah-ul-Haq was looking nervous when Bravo was there. He was getting frustrated. So when Yasir Shah took that catch, I'm sure he was extremely relieved.
Yes, it was totally a cliffhanger. You know, the way Bravo was playing, I think it was nothing happening for Pakistan. And as you mentioned, Yasir Shah put all energy in that over and took Bravo,
But
got
I
him
still
out.
think it needs to be stated, even at that stage when Bravo was going, yes, it was nervy times for the Pakistanis, but they were still favorites
Yeah, they were, because we knew
throughout.
that. Yeah, throughout, because we knew that where we could able to take him out, Bravo, out of this equation. So we will able to get that match easily, and it happened as well.
Right, absolutely. Now, Zaidi Saab, this is something I want to ask you. This is not the first time Pakistan have been troubled by spin bowling, especially in the second innings. You can even go back to the 80s when this English spinner called Cook almost bowled out the Pakistanis, and they were
Jeff
chasing.
Cook, I think.
They were trying to chase 120. Thanks to Neil Dalpat, I think Pakistan just managed to win that one. Pat Simcox took 3 in Faisalabad in the second. Nathan Horrocks in Sydney, 2009. Panesar and Swan, I think, in the second Test match in 2012. Imran Tahir and now over here, Devinder Bishu. So, do you think Pakistan have a problem with spin, or is it just one of those things? Is it, or maybe it's just pressure?
I think more of a reckless and careless batting. Just 123 odd runs in the third innings. I was not expecting this from Pakistan. Not a single batsman except, I think, young Sami Aslam, who scored 44 runs, I think, stood at the wicket. Otherwise, all the batsmen just went in and came back. That was, of course, courtesy, genuine wrist spin by Bishu. But on the other hand, we also saw some beautiful, lovely leg spin bowling by Yasir Shah, who got his 100 wickets in Test matches. He became, I think, the second quickest to reach the 100
Just a bit on
wickets.
Yasir Shah. First innings, he bowled well. He took 5, I think. Second innings, he was flat. And I think that's mainly because of fatigue, Faizan. He probably needs a rest.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, Yasir Shah, after batting out quickly our second inning, so it was very, very hard for a spinner to bowl 44 overs in second inning. So it was, very difficult.
I mean, we say that fast bowlers need a rest, Faizan, and of course they do. I believe Amir and Wahab really need one. But so do spinners. They put a lot of energy into their bowling. There was this West Indian spinner called Lance Gibbs, and his fingers used to bleed. If you look at the state of Murali Dharan's fingers, it's frightening. So we also need to think about that for our spin bowlers, especially Yasir Shah.
Yeah, Yasir Shah, actually we are using him very, on a consistent basis. He is our main weapon, and Misbah-ul-Haq really depending on him, and as our bowling is also depending on him. As I mentioned that he bowled 44 overs in the second inning, so it was really, hard taking for him.
Day-night Test cricket, Azadi Saab. This was only the second international day-night Test match with a pink ball. The first one was in Adelaide, and in Adelaide, it was as pretty as a picture. Although there were some issues with the pink ball, it looked great because the lights were on, the crowd was in. Over here in Dubai, it was slightly different. Barely anyone came to the Test match. Towards the end, especially the last session, dew became an issue. The ball got scuffed up, therefore the fast bowlers couldn't get the ball to reverse, and the spinners even had trouble gripping it. So these are things that the ICC really need to think about.
I think they are going to sit down and think on these lines. Dubai has got this problem of dew factor. And this factor in November, December, I've seen in Lahore and other cities of Pakistan too, this dew factor. And you remember in 1997, 98, there used to be sprays in the ground.
Yes.
And just to get rid of those crickets, other crickets who fly in the
moths as well.
Moth, yes. But dew factor also used to affect the cricket matches. Same as in Dubai. And you're talking about Adelaide. Adelaide might not be facing the same problem as far as dew is concerned. But Pakistani fast bowlers and spinners, they were finding it difficult to deliver deliveries.
You're currently playing domestic cricket, Faizan, and I came to watch one of your games. You're representing Islamabad region,
yes,
if I'm not mistaken. And you were playing with a pink ball. And I could see that there were issues. Dew was the biggest, not much swing on offer. So what are your thoughts? How quickly does this need to be rectified if we want day-night Test cricket or pink ball cricket to progress?
I think it's, for me, it was not that much successful. I think it's a failure because I wasn't playing that game, but I was talking to my teammates who were playing that game. They said that it's very difficult to pick it up in the lights. It's very difficult to play a spinner in the lights as well, because in the previous show I mentioned that it's seam thread made with black thread. It's very hard to pick it up in the lights.
Faizan, wouldn't it be easier to pick up black thread rather than white thread, which is what they used earlier, I think? But with black thread, I think it would be easier to pick up.
No, because the shine of that ball, pink ball is painted, so it's very shiny. You couldn't able to pick that black thread on that. The shine you only can pick up. I talked to Syed Yusuf, he was playing in the light, so he saw while playing spinner, Khalid Latif was bowling, so he just watching the sign, he couldn't able to watch that seam.
Okay, if conditions are dry, Faizan, do you think the ball can reverse? Or will it be very difficult?
It's difficult with the ping ball, I guess. It's difficult. It's painted. When you in our cricketing terms, when we use Vaseline or took the nail on that paint, so it's not easy to took it out, and it's not easy to bowl the reverse swing.
You naughty boys.
These are legal things now, I think, in the test matches in the 4 days. If you watch out from the match referee.
Ali, the second point you raised was about the crowd. Well, you go on playing cricket in UAE, you'll find lesser people coming to the ground. You have to once again bring cricket back to our country, which hopefully will come back, because I was reading in the press today that some army cricket teams are playing a tournament in
Australian
Lahore.
Army
Yes,
is here,
Australian
yeah, to
Army
play.
is here, and some other teams of different sports. There is a badminton tournament going on in the capital, and then in Lahore once again there is some other tournament going on in which 16 foreign teams are participating. So I think things are improving, and I was reading a Law and Order report today issued by some I think American magazine which talked high and betterment of Pakistan law and order situation.
Sure, but on night cricket, let's say cricket returns to Pakistan tomorrow and we decide to play a day-night test. It's not going to be easy. Dew is a factor all over Pakistan. Not only dew, you mentioned the moths, and then fogs at Isab in your hometown. A single ball couldn't be bowled
I was
against
there at that test
Zimbabwe
match,
because of fog.
1998.
So I think there are too many problems in the subcontinent playing day-night test cricket.
Particularly in November, December, January.
Yeah, and that's when the season starts. That will be an issue. That's when teams come and play.
Yes, I was in fact eyewitness to that test match in 1998. When I landed in Faisalabad, I could not search for my house. I lost my house because it was such a thick fog. We used to go to the cricket stadium in the morning. There used to be fog.
Morning and night.
And night. And one day, I remember, Doc Covey was the umpire. He in fact informed most of those who were covering cricket that I want to go to some textile mill to shop some cloth. He went there, and by that time he had called the day off, and suddenly the sun came out and everything lit up, and everybody thought Doug Covey has made the mistake. But after I think 1 hour, once again everything visibility diminished away.
More on the pink ball, Faizan. I think, and I suspected first, because I didn't know, that they used extra lacquer in this Dubai test, because there was a lot of concern. A lot of people thought that this pink ball would deteriorate after the 35th over. So I think therefore they used extra lacquer, and I think that also didn't allow the ball to swing as much. So there are issues, and the ICC can't just sit on it. They need to do it quickly, because things need to be done to improve test match cricket. Improve in the sense that you need to get the crowds back. That's the main thing. This isn't the first time that we've seen day-night test cricket, by the way. Kerry Packer cricket, they played the Super Test series against Australia and the West Indies. So this can be done, but you cannot sit on these issues that are easily identifiable right now, and issues that can be sorted out quite quickly.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. I think this is a small issue when you are organizing that much of cricket at that level. These sort of things should quickly erase from these matters. Yes, you can say that ping ball. You can make it at a good level, and you can point it out these sort of issues very quickly. You should erase these issues, because you saw our game as well. It was also advertisement problem as well. If you saw that we were playing night match and there barely one stand was covered by the crowd. These sort of things you should
No,
know.
it's unfortunate. Look, this is my job,
Yeah.
and I didn't know you guys were playing.
You see?
I'll be very honest with you.
See?
So these things again need to be looked into.
So how can you say that your cricket going to be improve? You know, these sort of things should happen.
But I think at least the PCB are making a concerted effort to play night cricket because they realize that it is the future and it's something that needs to be embraced.
Ali, this was just an experiment. I mean, results have to be analyzed later on. How many people came? Why didn't they come? What was the interest generated in the people who had to invest in advertisement? These things have to be analyzed later. I think ICC knew from the first word go, that this might not be a success. But still, they experimented. It's a brave decision.
Another problem that players could face, specifically players, is the timing of this. You start at 4 o'clock. Well, this started at 4. Well, again,
right,
yeah, 2 o'clock, fine. Yeah,
All
in
right.
Pakistan, we watched it at 4 o'clock. So yeah, you're right.
No, I thought you were talking about our match.
Yeah.
domestic match.
No, okay. So around Dubai, it started around 3:30, something like that. You're done by what? 10:30.
Yeah.
You get home by 12. You'll probably sleep by 1. So you'll sleep late because you've been on the field all day. You'll probably wake up late. You'll have your breakfast.
Yes.
Get back to the game. Have your tea break. Play again. Supper break. You guys will be exhausted.
Yeah.
So your biorhythm, the player's biorhythm, is something to think about as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, we were talking about these 4 days consistently that we are cut off the world as well. You know, we woke up at 12, then one at ground, then came back home at 12. So it's
Imagine
very
how,
hard.
especially the fast bowlers, how they'd feel.
They didn't get time to get relaxed or to come back with that same energy. It's very hard to. But we are professional. We have to get ready for this as
So
well.
then, Fazan, if there were 5 test matches being played in a series, maybe just one day-night test. You can't do more than that because it'll mess up the player's biorhythm.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. As sir mentioned that they are experimenting that. The experiment should be once in the series looks good. It really changed your routine. It really changed your energy timings and as well. And during that match, we start feeling that we are getting hungry. At 2 o'clock, we just start our day and we are feeling hungry. So this is totally you changing the routine of your player as well.
Moving on to the second test match, the upcoming second test match, Yunus Khan will be introduced. Obviously, his presence will help the Pakistanis. It'll strengthen their batting lineup. So that means either Babar or Nawaz has to go, which is unfortunate because...
Some people are saying either Babar or Asad Shafiq.
Why is Shafiq?
This is just an argument given by some section of the cricketers.
That would be strange if Asad Shafiq
And
goes.
I would name one of them as Mohsen Khan. But he is saying that Asad Shafiq should not be axed. So ultimately Babar Azam will be axed.
Yeah, he's got some issues with the short ball, by the way, which he needs to sort out. But again,
But anyhow, he's got 3 centuries
match.
behind him and a 50.
Yeah, absolutely. So he needs to sort that out, especially because we're going to Australia soon. So Yunus Khan will be in. I suspect they might bring Babar back in the side, Zulfikar Babar. He'll be very useful.
This is one of the speculations.
He'll be very useful. But Zadi Saab, Amir and Wahab, they need to rest. Amir didn't look 100%, especially in the second innings, but he's so good, he still managed to pick
He
up
got 3
3
wickets.
Wahab Riaz bowled with a lot of heart, a lot of fire, especially in the first innings. But again, big tours are coming up. And Rahat Ali and Imran Khan are there for a reason. So in my opinion, these two need to be rested for the second and the third test match. What are your thoughts?
I agree with you. I always argue that South African captain, he uses Steyn very cautiously, very carefully. Because it is not a must that Steyn has to play in each and every test match which South Africa plays. Same should be done in the Pakistan cricket team too. And since our coach has come from South African side, I think he should try to implement it to give these fast bowlers some deserved rest. Otherwise, well, they are going to wither away, I tell you.
What are your thoughts on that, Faizan?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think we are using Wahab Riaz on a consistency basis. He is a bowler who put his every, energy on the ball. He should give him rest. I want to see Imran Khan Jr. I don't know what he did because he is consistently out of the scene and he was performing very well. If you remember, he was the backbone of our team in the test matches which held in UAE.
And
So-
in Sri Lanka, he bowled very well in
Very
Sri
well,
Lanka.
yeah, they perform very well, and you know we are relying heavily on Mohammad Amir and Wahab Riaz, which is not right. We have to see that, as you mentioned, that big tours are coming, so we should save them as well.
A lot of people felt that Sohail Khan was under bowled as well. Now, he bowled extremely well in England, and these conditions, let's face it, they weren't very helpful, especially for a bowler like Sohail Khan. But I guess he'll be more comfortable bowling in New Zealand.
You know, see, we are not comparing it that with the situation, as you mentioned. He bowled very well in those conditions while we are playing in UK. So he is not that kind of bowler who can use those conditions in Abu Dhabi as well. We should realize that he is a swing bowler. He will not get that much of swing which he was getting in the England conditions. So we should use those kind of bowler who was performing in UAE conditions before we played here.
I think UAE conditions were hostile conditions for fast bowlers.
They always have been.
And,
They always have been.
There
Unless
must
you
have
Wasim
been
Waqar.
large-hearted, tiger-hearted bowlers to bowl on such a wicket.
Certainly, yes. But Zaidi sir, do you think when we go to New Zealand and Australia, they're very strong sides. They're playing in their backyard. Do you think we have the bowlers to trouble them on a consistent basis?
Yes, I think we have got. And as I have seen Aussie wickets from very close angles from the ground and by standing on the wicket too. Well, a wicket at Brisbane, of course, helps the fast bowlers, and Pakistan is going to play at Hobart. Hobart is equally good for fast bowlers and equally good for leg spinners, wrist spinners, and Pakistan have got both. Sydney wicket is, of course, one wicket which assists the fast bowlers and leg spinners too.
We've only won one test match in Australia. The last test match
No,
we
no,
won in
we
Australia.
have got 3 test
No, but the last one we won was in 1995.
I was there inside the ground
So
when-
what I'm saying is that Australia, I mean, it isn't our favorite place. New Zealand, for some reason, loves us. I mean, every fast bowler, Pakistani fast bowler of consequence that I can think of, has performed against New Zealand. New Zealand first. I mean, Wasim made his debut against New Zealand. Shoaib Akhtar blew away New Zealand. Sami made his debut against New Zealand, took 5 wickets.
Umar Akmal scored century against New Zealand.
Umar Akmal scored a century. So but I'm mainly looking at the bowlers here. So I don't think we'd have such a bad time in New Zealand. We're fond of that place.
Yes, you know, those conditions suits our bowler, which our history tells. You know, swing bowlers, we got lots of swing bowler and effort bowler as well. As you mentioned, all those names are legends, so they took very good advantage of those conditions.
Absolutely. Not even legends. I don't know why, but the New Zealand bowlers have always, the New Zealand batsmen rather, have always had trouble getting on top of Pakistani bowlers. But maybe it's different now because they've got a fantastic side.
I think Pakistan should not be underrated too.
Absolutely. Well, we have to wrap up this segment. The second test match is coming up. A.R. Zaidi Saab, do you think the West Indians will take, from the first test match, do you think they'll bring their confidence into the second?
I think yes. But we have to look at Misbah, what he's doing. In fact, he is showing too much confidence in Zulfikar Babar. He has uttered this in one of the press talks too. On the other hand, the biggest thing will be who will make way for Yunus Khan. That is a very, very important question because both of the batsmen we have talked about earlier, Asad Shafiq or the other one, Babar Azam, they are in very good form. So I think, it will be very difficult time for the captain to decide between who to leave the side.
Faizan, very quickly, the confidence West Indies acquired from on the last 2 days of the first test, will they bring it into the second?
Definitely, they will come back strongly, and they showed their guts, and they start feeling that we can conquer the Pakistani side.
Absolutely. Well, we have to leave it at that. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on Sports Extra. It was a
Thank you very
pleasure.
much.
We'll be back after a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about the English Premier League and the Champions League. Stay tuned.
इंडियन डीटीएच सर्विस गैर कानूनी है, जिसके कारोबार से हर साल अरबों रुपए गैर कानूनी तरीके से इंडिया मुंतकिल हो रहे हैं, यानी गैर कानूनी चैनल्स के साथ कौमी मईशत पर यलगार। इस गैर कानूनी कारोबार के खिलाफ 15 अक्टूबर के बाद क्रैकडाउन का आगाज किया जा रहा है, जिसके तहत पैमरा और पुलिस की छापामार टीमें पूरे मुल्क में बिना इम्तियाज और तफरीक कार्रवाई करेंगी। मुकदमात पैमरा, कस्टम्स, FBI, PTA, पाकिस्तान पीनल कोड और FIA कवानीन के तहत चलाए जाएंगे। मुलव्वस अफराद को जुर्माने और सजा का सामना करना पड़ेगा। मजीद मालूमात के लिए टोल फ्री नंबर 0800 736 72। जिम्मेदार शहरी बने, कानून की पासदारी करें। पैमरा।
PTV announces its corporate application for Android and iOS mobile devices with exciting and new features, more functionality and resources to make your experience wholesome and complete. From news scrolls to web TV to live streaming, PTV News, PTV Sports, PTV World and PTV Home, a complete social media integration and opinion polls, so you can share your views and opinions with your network. So install the Android and iOS app right now and get connected with your national broadcaster, PTV, Voice of the Nation.
Welcome back. We're all done with cricket and now it's time to talk about football, and we'll briefly begin with the English Premier League, and we'll specifically talk about Liverpool's game against Man United. Yesterday we did talk about it quite a bit, but we mainly focused on Manchester United and their tactics. Now we'll talk about Liverpool and why they were unable to break through Man U's defence. We'll discuss that and then we'll move on to Man City's big Champions League game against Barcelona. And to talk about football in greater detail, I've been joined by two guests in the studio. I have with me Mr. Waleed Irfan. Waleed Irfan, great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Ali.
And we also have Mr. Asad Nawaz. Nawaz, great to see you.
Thank you so much.
A bit of criticism came Klopp's way, I think, because they were expected to break through Man United's defence because of the kind of form that they've shown. Why do you think they were unable to do so?
One reason only, I think, David De Gea, he was the difference between the two teams last night, because you see the saves he made. I think you do not see regular keepers making those saves. I think he was on the night, he was phenomenal, and you know the difference between the two sides. But coupled with him, I think United's defense was very disciplined on the night, and they performed brilliantly. Antonio Valencia and Daily Blind, then Bailly and Smalling. I think they were very disciplined and they shut the Liverpool attackers very well. So, and with that, I think United's midfield performed very well. The place where Mourinho played Marouane Fellaini and Ander Herrera were perfect for them on the night. I think they were performing brilliantly and they, you know, nullified any threats from the Liverpool attackers.
Waleed makes a good point. Yes, okay, Liverpool failed to get through, but you've got to give Man U credit for their tactics and their midfielders and their defense. They were superb.
Yeah, it was observed that Liverpool were doing a good job in the first half, but as we could have seen that in the second half, the Man United defenders were doing the man-to-man strategy. Each defender was covering one person, and I think Valencia did a great job at defense.
No, I mean, when you think about it, I mean, Eric Bailly was superb.
Yeah.
So much so that he outran some of his colleagues. I think it was Valencia at one point who got the better of Firmino, and Firmino is in fantastic form. So you could see that they were really fired up.
I think getting a point at Anfield after the international break, after a long break, you expect both the teams to, you know, get the better result. Everyone is expecting for going for the 3 points, but I think that both the teams would have been satisfied that coming after the international break, both of them got a point each. And with that, I think United were very good on the night and they were brave with their tactics, and I think that Mourinho got it spot on.
A lot of people believe, after the game, they were discussing this, that Liverpool looked unbalanced until Lallana came in.
on,
What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that it's pretty fine to say that they were a bit unbalanced because the passing wasn't very well. Like United had all the possession and Liverpool couldn't pierce through the defense of United.
Absolutely, yes. Now, what will Klopp's strategy be from here on out? Because I think Liverpool were expected to win this one. So
yeah.
I'm not sure if Liverpool will look at it as a defeat, but they'll be the more disappointed team.
one, yeah.
What are your
Definitely.
thoughts?
I think that this was a learning curve for Klopp, this game, and I think they have a lot to learn from this game. He will now be working a lot in between the two players he has at his disposal, Sturridge and Lallana. I think when Sturridge went off, the game changed all of a sudden. United had the better position, had the better of the game, but as soon as Lallana came on, I think Liverpool were in the driving seat. They had more chances, they had the better position. So I think he has a choice now between Lallana and Sturridge to who to choose.
And you can pick up on this in a bit, but Waleed, I think what Klopp has to realize, and I'm sure he does, I mean, he's a master, that Sturridge as a lone striker, it doesn't quite work.
This is something we have been seeing in the Premier League, that you are not playing natural strikers in their natural positions. We have only half a dozen teams out of the total 20 that are, playing actual quality strikers in their original positions. Whereas for Liverpool and other teams, we have seen that they are playing false nines. So Sturridge you cannot term him as a quality striker who is, a natural striker. He is someone who is a false nine player who you can utilize as a striker if your striker isn't available.
Look, Sturridge is, I'm going to use a cricket analogy here. He seems to be like a tearaway fast bowler in cricket, and he needs to be used wisely. Sometimes he'll be formidable and unplayable, but other times, he'll be wayward, like a lot of tearaway quicks are. And when he's on song, he makes a huge impact like he did against Swansea. So it's very important that Klopp uses Sturridge well. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that Klopp, it was a good chance for Liverpool to jump on the third place, but they kind of failed at it. And I think that Klopp should work on his formation because I think Lallana and Sturridge both should be playing at the strike.
Absolutely. And to talk about football in further detail, I've been joined by Mr. Sherazi Khan. Sherazi Khan, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Ali. Thank you so much for having me.
You're more than welcome. Okay, Sherazi, I'm going to ask you a question on Liverpool, and the other two analysts sitting with me will ask you about Man City's upcoming game against Barcelona. So, Sherazi, first on Liverpool, I said this earlier, they'll probably be the more disappointed team because of the goalless draw against Manchester United. They were expected to win that one. Your thoughts?
I was actually picking on them to draw. I was not expecting the result to be 0-0. Well, it was a really disappointing game for both sides. It was, I think, a little bit more disappointing from Manchester United because there were high hopes. There was a new manager, star-studded team, and they didn't tend to perform very well. Rooney didn't do anything. Ibrahimovic didn't do anything. So as a result, it was very disappointing for Liverpool because they missed a couple of good chances. But I think it's too early on in the league to actually decide if that can have an outcome later on in the league.
Right, Sherazi, we're going to move on to the upcoming Champions League game, Man City versus Barcelona, and Waleed Irfan has a question for you about that match. Waleed?
Assalamu alaikum, Sherazi. I have a question that Manchester City are going to the Camp Nou this time. So Messi, we all know, is back. But apart from Messi, who do you think is going to be the driving force for Barcelona this time?
Thank you, Waleed. I would like to say that this time I think Neymar is actually in a very good form as well, and so is Suarez. And Pep has very, very publicly said that in his opinion, Messi is the best player. And for Pep's strategy is to basically keep the ball, and they're fighting against Barcelona, who is the best at keeping the ball and keeping possession and It's I think for Man City, they have to keep an eye out for Neymar, for Suarez, and I think Mascherano's coming back in the team because of some injuries, and he should be back. And the past few games, Man City has been performing really well, but it's been kind of disappointing for Barcelona because they are fourth in the league. So this is a chance for them to prove that all hope is not lost, and it's still too early in the season, and it'll be a very good motivational boost for them.
Right, Asad Nawaz, I understand you also have a question for Shahryar Khan. Go for it.
Assalamu alaikum, Shahryar Khan. I would like to ask you a question regarding the upcoming City and Barcelona game at Camp Nou. Well, Shahryar Khan, what do you think that will Barcelona be having a home advantage like we've seen in the past that they've been doing a perfectly fine job at home?
Of course. Camp Nou is completely different. It's a completely different ball game. There have been games where Barcelona has been left behind away, but when they come to Camp Nou, with a huge goal difference, they do tend to come back. They have a huge fan support. Their morale is extremely high in the home ground. And one thing Pep knows as well is that he started off in Barcelona. His career, he started off in Barcelona, and Barcelona knows this, and the players know this, and the players know him very well. They know how he plays, and for them to counteract with his strategy, I think it would be way easier for Barcelona to win. But you do have to keep an eye out for Aguero, and Sterling's performance this season has been amazing. Last season he was very disappointing. Kevin De Bruyne has been very good. These guys can keep Pep's dream alive. But Pep's main strategy has been is going to be to play defensively. You can't compete against Neymar, Suarez, Messi. So the one thing you have to do is keep the ball, keep possession against one of the best teams, and especially when you're playing away. So I think it'll be a very easy win for Barcelona. I would probably say that it's a much harder game for Man City to keep a lead.
Insightful stuff. We leave it at that. Shahryar Khan, thank you very much for speaking to us. Pep will be under a little bit of pressure for obvious reasons.
Definitely a lot of pressure going back to his, home ground. He's played there, he's managed there. So I think a lot of pressure, but he is used to the surroundings, and I think that he is the capable manager who can get a result at the Camp Nou.
Final question before we wrap up, Asad. Do you agree with Shahryar? You think it'll be an easy win for
I
Barcelona?
don't think that, because Pep Guardiola does know what Barcelona will be thinking about, and he'll surely have some go-throughs on how to get past their defense and how to keep possession.
Walid?
I think it's going to be a very, very tight encounter, and I think it's going to be a draw, 1-1.
It'll be exciting to watch. We're going to leave it at that. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
That's all we have time for. Keep watching Sports Extra on PTV World. See you next time.